At this stage, we know how to put in a grid scale 1:50, and we know how to roughly plot our plan over that grid scale 1:50. Now, we've already just put in some pieces of furniture in human scale to get a sense of what it looks like holistically scale 1:50. So the next step is to start developing our layout. Now, often you would zone areas, and that you would give areas functions, if you like, because it becomes easier. But on a small space, or in a small space like this, you don't always do that. I'm going to put another window in here because I just don't think there's enough light. Remember, this is fictitious. Okay. So this is your front door, this is your stairs, and these are just applied to give you an idea of the scale of furniture, scale 1:50. And again, like I said in the last video, you choose your couch and then you dimensionally draw it out scale 1:50. But a tip here, what you can do is you can put small pieces of tracing paper over your items like this and draw them out separately so that you can easily move them around the layout when you're trying to figure out where you want to put them. Okay, so these are a couple I did earlier. That's straightforward enough. So I'm just going to put them to the side of the drawing board there. So you overlay another sheet of tracing paper just like this. It's already fixed at the top. So I'm just going to fix it at the bottom here. So this is what we're working with here, and we have our small pieces of furniture here that we can just shift around the space. But because this is my second layout, I'm just going to draw it out in a separate colour. You know, so you can say this is iteration 2. Very quickly, you can see this is not an exact science, and you really have to do this before you get detailed about your architectural drawing or about your dimensions. This is where you make your mistakes. So when you're doing your architectural drawings, you're literally just transferring the information rather than designing. Another window here. We have our front door here, and we have, that's the landing, which is just clear space, and we have the stairs that runs up like that. Now, so I'm looking at this and I'm thinking, you know, there's a lot of light coming into this building now, and there's a hallway as well, and I'm not sure that I want, you know, when the front door opens that you can see everything. And that's often the purpose of, you know, a porch, or why your hall is blocked off, so that all the elements don't come into the entire space, that there is some sort of division. So I'm looking at this and it's relatively big. I mean, you can leave it open if you want to, but I'm going to put something in here, maybe about there. I'm just going to divide it off there. So there's still a substantial size of hall there. And let's just say we have another door in here, and you know, you may or may not put another door in here. I'm just going to put another one here because, again, we're at the idea stage. We're developing our layout, so this is where you make mistakes, so don't be afraid to make them. Now I'm looking at that thinking, okay, this is a very large space here, but it does mean that I could have, you know, a kitchen, and I could have an island there, which could be quite nice. So say if I put an L-shaped kitchen in here like this, and I have an island about there, that could be quite nice. Okay, but it gets rid of that door, but that's okay. Now I'm looking at my table and chairs here. Now I like the table and chairs there because you're getting light from both windows. That's that dual aspect that creates a really nice feeling in an interior space. So that could work, or that could work. Okay, so I'm just going to put that down like that. And I'm wondering now where I'll put my couch. Well, The couch is okay there, but the door opens directly, so directly onto the couch, so I don't know that I'm wild about that. And there is a certain amount of head height here. Okay, so I'm just going to place my couch in under here, just at the window. Now I'm going to fix these down like this. So I'm thinking to myself, do I like how that feels? Okay, well, you have a solid wall here, so you have the option of putting a partition in if you want to divide off the kitchen and dining room. You know, equally it could be a temporary division. So I'm just throwing out those ideas there. You know, so generally you could have it divided, but perhaps if you were having people in or a party or whatever, it wouldn't be divided. Again, you could just have a divide here and maybe something different there. So again, you're just at your thinking stage. Now, I'm going to put another piece of tracing paper over this because we've talked about the furniture in the space, and we've talked about the overall size of the space, and we've talked about plotting your layout on the space, and we've talked about our scale 1:50 grid, but what we haven't talked about is the space that you walk through, where there's nothing in it. The corridors, if you like. Now, this is called negative space, and it's really, really important in design. So what you have to do is consider your routeways in the same way that, you know, in a car you get from A to B on a road, and in a vascular system your blood moves around your body through routeways, veins and arteries. It's exactly the same principle, and it's very important in design. So remember that it's your negative space. So I've overlaid another sheet of tracing paper, and now what I'm going to have a look through is the flow. So we know we come in this door, and we know we have to get up the stairs. Okay, we have to access the kitchen, so we're coming in here, and we have to access the dining area, so we're coming in like this, and we have to access the seating area. You know, and arguably you'll be sort of moving around like this. Now, as a rule of thumb, the width of this is 0.8 of a meter. Okay, or 80 centimeters, right? Or 800 millimeters. Okay, so I'm going to just put it in as 0.8 of a meter for argument's sake. So the width of those corridors, the flow through the space, the negative space, at the moment is 0.8 of a meter. Now that's the standard size for a corridor. It can be smaller depending on what you're passing around. Like if you're passing a couch or a coffee table, the distance can be a little smaller. But for the moment, while we're developing our layout, put it in at 0.8 of a meter. You can eat into it at a later stage. So the question is, I mean, how do we do that? Okay, well, we have our straight lines, and we get our scale ruler again, go to the 1:50, okay, and what we want is 400 on either side of the line, like that. So 400 on either side of our line is approximately that right there. So I'm just going to approximately put that in, and then I'll take a measurement just to be sure that it's accurate enough. And then you can literally just block it out. And again, in a very rough way, it doesn't have to be perfect. So we're dealing with roughly 800. And this is just to get a sense of the negative space in our preliminary design. Okay, you could argue you might need it there as well. And then around. Okay, so this is called your flow or your negative space. Okay, so what we can do here again, because we've overlaid another sheet of tracing paper, is, so we put this in, that's a big island, but we like the big island because, say the client likes to cook and maybe likes to have dinner parties. Okay, so you have this here. So you might ask yourself the question, well, can I have stools here? But then you're impacting on the flow in between those chairs and those chairs. You can reduce the size of them, or you can shift them around or whatever, and you may be able to make it work. Okay, and this is my kitchen, 0.6 deep. And I'm going to leave my couch there because I kind of like my couch there. Okay, so I'm looking at this and I'm thinking, yeah, I'd like a coffee table there, and I'd actually like a plant there. And okay, so there's a bit of space there as well. So let's just say we're going to put a TV on a partition wall there, which I'm just going to make that size. And we have our stairs running up there, and we have our hallway here, door in. And I'm looking at this thinking, you know what, I'm going to put a whole load of storage units to the side there. So maybe we've a seating area in the middle here, and these are, if you like, maybe space where you can hang coats, and the seating area, and under the seating area maybe you can store your shoes. Okay, so this is how you develop your layout. Scale 1:50. You can cut out your couch and your table and chairs and whatever pieces of furniture you have, scale 1:50, and you can shift them around the layout. You can even take photographs of the different types of layout, print them out and compare them if you want to. So it just gives you options. Remember, this is a rough stage where you're producing iterations of your layout. You do it very quickly without a whole pile of judgment. It is not meant to be a detailed process. You layer into the detail as your layout is developing.